Anyway, Senator John Hoeven.
Larry, your last guest had some great points. On energy, it is about innovation, and you don't increase taxes, you don't increase regulations, you allow energy development on federal lands. And then with technology, states like North Dakota can crack the code on carbon capture. We can have more energy, more cost effectively with lower emissions. That's what we're doing. Love to talk to you more about it, but we can do a ton, again, with innovation. That's the American spirit.
No, I want to talk more about it. I think it's a great point. Here we are, you and me. I mean, Team Biden, you were in that meeting, as I recall, with President Biden and a bunch of others. So does he hear this? Does he understand this? Does he understand? I mean, even the natural gas revolution, fracking, horizontal drilling and fracking, which makes us the #1 producer in the world. Very few people foresaw that 20 years ago or 30 years ago, but it happened, okay? The whole information revolution, very few people saw it coming, but it happened. Why can't it continue to happen if we let free enterprise work with the proper incentives?
Exactly. That's exactly right. We're reducing CO2 emissions. We're doing it by producing more energy. We're doing things like, as you said, horizontal drilling, fracking, all those kind of things where we produce more energy, lower CO2. That's the innovation, but you get it by cutting taxes, reducing regulation, not increasing taxes and regulation, and you encourage the innovation and the entrepreneurship of American people, entrepreneurs, and companies. Our ingenuity is getting it done. In North Dakota, we were a huge part of cracking the code on fracturing, which makes us the second largest oil and gas producing state in the nation, second only to Texas. Now what we're doing, and we've been working on this for a decade, Larry, is we're going to crack the code on carbon capture for coal-fired electric, and we're going to capture the CO2 off these plants and produce electricity. So that's coming through innovation. The 45Q tax credit, which I worked to pass, we have in place now. We're working to enhance. I talked to the president about that on Monday. I was up at the White House with some others that had been either governors or mayors before being in the Senate or the House. There were about 10 of us that went up there. And I think I've got their interest on this because that's the right way to do it. You were talking about that in your last segment. That's the way to go.
Senator, can I just ask a little more? The issue of carbon capture, which is so important. Carbon capture, I think, could help the coal industry. It could help oil, could help natural gas. Tell us a wee bit more about carbon capture, if you will.
Right. So first you have to have the legal and regulatory environment in your state to put that CO2 downhole and do it safely, and you have to be EPA approved. We started on that back in 2009 when I was governor, and we now have not only all of the state law and regulation in place, we also have EPA approval. We're one of only 2 states in the nation that can even do this. So it's not something you just start out overnight and do, but now we can do it off coal-fired electric plants. We're already doing it here in this state, Dakota Gasification Company. We actually pipe it into Canada for tertiary oil recovery. We're working on putting it down for just geologic storage here in North Dakota, but also off ethanol plants, Larry. Ethanol plants in Iowa, Minnesota, and South Dakota will be piping their CO2 up to North Dakota because we can put it downhole there. More energy, transportation fuel, whatever you want, and less CO2.
This is just so sensible. I guess Joe Biden's not the moderate, he used to be. I guess that's part of the story. What you say is so much in the American tradition, and we don't have to destroy these industries. We'll make them better. We'll make them better because it makes dollars and cents, right? I mean, isn't that how these things evolve?
Larry, it's the American way. You know that better than anybody. You unleash that entrepreneurial spirit. You empower it with the right kind of environment in terms of legal and regulatory and regulatory certainty, not over-regulation. Lower the tax burden instead of raising it. You actually create more revenue. You create more jobs. You create higher incomes, and you actually create more revenue because you got a bigger economy. Those are the keys. And at the same time, the technology gives you better environmental stewardship.
Yeah, that's fabulous. We can turn it from a bad Earth Day into Schumpeterian gales of creative destruction. That's how we can do this. We'll go from bad to good. It's not that hard to do, and the Dakotas are leaders. Let me just repeat that. North Dakota, in particular, a leader in the whole energy revolution